Ready? Play.
Looks like we've had a little frozen screen there with our play, but Jack didn't have any such technical hitches last week. He was on the ground in Glasgow for the Billie Jean King Cup. Just quickly, Jack, let's just imagine we've got a casual tennis observer. What is the Billie Jean King Cup?
Good question. Yeah, well, they call themselves the World Cup of tennis, right? So I mean, it's your biggest team event of the year, right? At the very end of the year, happens annually. If you know anything about the Davis Cup, which is generally a lot more well publicized at this point in time, it's very similar to that team format. Basically, each country has a group of 4 singles players or so, a few doubles players. They'll play a tie between another country and themselves. They'll play 2 singles matches and 1 doubles match. Whoever wins the tie, whoever wins the 2 matches out of the 3, or the 3 matches out of the 3 wins the tie, and so on. Basically, you have to win group stages, semi-finals, final. And it's fairly prestigious, of course. Billie Jean King, one of the most famous tennis players of all time, is the namesake, and she was in attendance for each match as well.
Okay, cool. Did you see her? Did you brush shoulders with her, Jack?
I didn't brush shoulders with her, no. She was sat down for every match, actually, so I could never really get a chance to talk to her. No press conferences or anything like that. Just a figurehead on the.
Did she present the trophy?
She did, yeah, and she presented the jackets as well. Did you see that?
No, I didn't know.
No, see, that's not very well publicised either. That's a different story. Basically, jackets that are meant to be quite similar to the ones you get awarded in. I'm not very good at my golf, John. Whatever golf tournament it is.
I think it's the Masters when they give a green jacket. Yeah.
Yes, that's it exactly. So they wanted a sort of female equivalent, but it's not. Anyway, side note. Yeah, she was there doing the jackets and the trophies.
Cool. Jack and I are here just to give you a sort of a 10-minute rundown on the event. Make sure you check out Jack's YouTube channel. I've got just a little image here that he interviewed Gil Gross and Pam Shriver last week. I know you spoke to Pam about the WTA finals. And Gil, what was Gil's chat about?
Gil was about Paris Masters.
Paris Masters, of course. Yeah, 2 huge tournaments happening. So make sure you check out On The Line, Jack's YouTube channel. It's also available in podcast form, wherever you get that. So check out that for his previous episodes, but also because I think in the next 24 hours or so, he'll be doing a much deeper dive on this Billie Jean King Cup. So, Jack, who won and what happened in the final?
Switzerland won overall. Obviously, last year we had Switzerland in the final as well. This time they went one step better, winning for the first time, by the way, with a fairly strong team. That's quite surprising. The final was Switzerland v Australia. In short, I'll try and keep it fairly summarised. Belinda Bencic was the best player all week, right? She was just amazing. Every single match she stepped up to play. I think she played 3 singles matches. Pliskova, she was incredible. Pliskova probably played the best set of tennis I've seen from her all year, self-professed as well. She said the same thing in the semis, but Bencic's just way too good. Tomljanovic in the final, she absolutely blew her away, 2-1. Tomljanovic couldn't touch her. Bencic also played against Leila Fernandez earlier in the week. Again, that was like 6-love, 7-5. Basically, Belinda Bencic playing for her country. Olympic gold as well. Hopman Cup champion. Now winners here, but also finalists last year. She's incredible. And that was the foundation for the Swiss team.
There were what we call scenes, I think is the 2022 word, although it may even go back as far as 2021 for all I know. But there were scenes afterwards or in the midst of victory. I know that there were a few drinks that were sunk by the team. I was just listening to the tennis podcast about that. I don't know if you saw any of these drinks flying around, or maybe even you got in on some of the action, Jack. Poor old Jack didn't get any drinks, but I just heard the tennis podcast that were you there for the press conferences afterwards?
No, I wasn't in attendance for them. I had to nip straight back onto court, unfortunately, John, for a bit of coaching. But I did hear all about them. I saw the press conference rundown. They all seemed very jolly. I saw social media afterwards, and they looked a little bit worse for wear. So you get the picture. I'm sure they were out somewhere in the back end of Glasgow.
And they also recreated on court at the time of sealing the victory this iconic sort of a set of images. I'll just put it up on the screen so we can see it. I mean, that was a pretty special moment, right? I mean, these were the scenes really that, in particular, that I'm referring to. This was a recreation of a Davis Cup moment. Am I right, between Federer and Wawrinka?
No, I think it might have been. No, it was
Hopman Cup?
2008, right? It was either 2008 when Fed and Wawrinka won the Olympic gold, or it was the 2014 one. I think it was the 2008 one, John. I'm pretty sure. I think it was the Olympic gold from 2008.
Quite possibly.
Yes,
There's
almost definitely, because the 2014 one was clay, 2008 one was in Beijing, and 2008 the hard court there. So it was definitely from then. Because I remember Bencic talking about afterwards, saying it was it was a part of their sort of culture growing up, the celebration that Federer did to stand from that long ago. So it's definitely from 2008.
something that go on, Ad.
I was just gonna say it's bizarre. Is it like one of them is dead and the other one's like bringing them back to life with magic hands?
Yeah, I know.
No, I like it though. It's cool.
Yeah. But anyway, that's cool, and it was all part of it. Listen, how was the atmosphere? We'll come to Great Britain in a minute. How was the atmosphere during the week, but mostly when Great Britain weren't obviously in action, because it was held in Glasgow, so plenty of home support when Britain were involved. But how was the atmosphere, say for example, for the final?
The final was great actually. The final was pretty stacked. We had plenty of fans for Australia and Switzerland making the noise the whole time, which we needed definitely. Music throughout each change of ends and stuff. So final great, semi-final great as well actually. Throughout the week though, John, pretty middling I would say. We could have done with a lot more people in the stands, but in Glasgow you just don't have enough of a market to fill up a US v Poland tie, on a Thursday afternoon. So it was pretty dead for some of the other matches, for sure.
Yeah, right, indeed. So, but anyway, Australia were the losing finalists. Tell us a little bit about their week and kind of what went wrong for them, perhaps in the final.
Yeah, Australia were great. In particular, Storm Sanders has got to get a shout out as the player of the week relative to her ranking of like 232, I think, something along those lines. Storm, just a great aggressor from the first return ball. Really, really good at stepping in and taking it early. So when Storm is on, she's on, but by her own admission, when she's not on, she tends to miss quite a lot. So I mean, this week the courts were slow enough that Storm could see the ball kind of early and put it back to the opponent's feet, and she was unstoppable against Van Uytvanck, Kuzmova. They were all straight sets, and then the semi-final as well, when she beat Heather Watson, that was fairly routine too. All those players, not the highest ranked, I suppose, and when Storm did come against Teichmann, who's a top 50 player, that there was a bit of a different story. But Storm still played great tennis throughout the week, and that was the main reason they got to the final for me. Because she also played the doubles, of course, against GB, which turned out to be crucial.
Yeah, well, perfect timing and a perfect segue, because I want to speak about Team GB. They made it to the semi-finals, but it was far from comfortable, was it, en route? It was a bit of a dramatic conclusion to the previous phase.
Yeah, oh my God. It was a great story, actually, how they got there. Basically, you go all the way back to Tuesday and had Alicia Barnett and Olivia Nichols not won their doubles against Kazakhstan, and that was a Wimbledon champion and a top 20 player in Dalanina, who's a number 11 in the world. Then we wouldn't have got to the semi-finals either. So that first doubles tie already turned out to be incredibly crucial. And then you got to Thursday, with Spain having won, we knew we had a chance, but slim pickings because we knew we had to win all three matches. Heather Watson comes out and plays an absolutely good, clinic against Parisas Diaz. Against Badosa, Harriet Dart probably put on one of the performances of the week. That was incredible in straight sets. Harriet Dart really showing, she could be top 50 in the next year for sure. And then the doubles was, Barnett and Nichols again. Those two were just incredible all week. They've been winning matches this year, but they've not been winning at the top level. So for them to turn up in every single match they played wasn't a given. And it was so good for everybody to get behind them. Probably one of the moments of the week when they won that match in straight sets. It was great.
Cool. And so dramatically, Britain somehow miraculously make it to the semi-finals. Is it fair to say that the British lineup wasn't the strongest? Emma Raducanu was absent, of course. So in a way that added even extra, intrigue or special situation with them making the semis.
do you know, like you look at Australia and the singles match was Tomljanovic. Harry Dart won that. Raducanu would have been there instead, right? Storm Sanders probably, arguably, definitely actually playing better than Tomljanovic all week for me. So even if you had Harry Dart at the second singles pairing, you probably still could have seen a loss there. I don't think you lost a lot by not having Raducanu, is my point. So
Okay.
they did well enough to get to the semis for the first time in 31 years or whatever it was. 1981, I think, was the last time Britain made it to the semis. So we can't complain too much at the lineup for sure.
Jack, it's been a very brief race through these matches, but I know you're going to be going for a deeper dive. Tell us about your channel and your podcast, which you're going to be coming up, and tell us a little bit more about who you're going to have on.
Yeah, so the podcast episode that's just coming up will feature Claire from Money Musings, a fellow Glaswegian. So she'll have plenty to say about it. She was in attendance for most of the matches that we talk about. Generally on the line, I like to have a little bit of a deeper dive into why players won certain matches. You know, for example, why did Storm Sanders do so well? Why was Switzerland's second player, Victoria Goljevic, so good all week? Stuff like that. And just having a deeper dive into analytics and stuff like that, basically. So if you're interested, go check it out.
Great, yeah. So make sure I put a link as well in the live chat, so you can check out an interview that Jack did last week with Pam Shriver regarding those WTA finals. Listen, Jack, thanks for stopping by for this little brief update on those finals last week. I mean, would you say the tournament was a success?
The tournament was a success, I would say. So there was middling crowds at points, but to end on such a high in the last 2-3 days on the Thursday as well, yeah, it was great. It was really, really
Great.
good.
And Jack, we're going to end on that note. To the rest of the tennis world, and to those of you that have been tuning in and will tune in, thanks for stopping by. And Jack, we'll be speaking to you soon.
Nice to see you, Jump. Speak soon.
Cheers. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.